When it comes to finding a potential solution to the longest-running conflict in the Middle East, many look to South Africa as the only other country where the apartheid system was legislated. Now, in South Africa itself, the campaigns for raising awareness about the plight of Palestine is growing, with many activists saying that the oppression of the Palestinians far outweighs what they experienced in their country before the apartheid system was abolished. Hassan Syria reports.
I'm not asking that you make a political decision. We're not asking you to make an economic decision. We're asking you to make a moral decision.
That was the call way back when apartheid was well and alive in South Africa. Today the call continues, but for Palestine. Launching the Israeli Apartheid Week here, the children and grandchildren of some of South Africa's anti-apartheid icons highlighted how the struggle for Palestinian liberation is directly linked to South Africa's freedom.
We wish to invoke the spirit of Walter Sisulu and his comrades who strove for a just, peaceful society, a democratic South Africa. And we beg of you to similarly stand for justice and for peace and fairness. Stand for this cause and join Israel Apartheid Week in honor and remembrance of our forebearers and liberation heroes.
While the African National Congress has become the ruling party, activists have used successive campaigns to pressure the government to isolate Israel, much like liberation movements here demanded during the anti-apartheid struggle.
And who are responsible for the policy of apartheid? It is not only the white people of South Africa. It is the great and powerful countries who are carrying on trade with that country. It is the great business concerns who are drawing profits from the sufferings of my people.
The ANC government today, however, continues to have relations with Israel, and South African companies have also been implicated in supplying materials for the construction of the separation wall. South African diamonds and other lucrative commodities also still find their way to the Zionist state.
In these Houses of Parliament once sat an apartheid regime, but through continued resistance and international pressure, that government was overthrown. And it is that experience that Palestinian activists keep in mind when they campaign here for the liberation of Palestine.
During the Israeli Apartheid Week, a number of deputy ministers and government officials participated in programs. But despite acknowledging Israel's brutality, the government argues it needs to maintain ties with Israel so it can negotiate for peace.
The government knows very well that our support is for a free Palestine, and will do every endeavor and everything to ensure that the solidarity activities are geared towards supporting the people of Palestine. However, the aggressor continuously to undermine. However, the aggressor continues to bomb and kill people. The aggressor, unfortunately, continues to expand Jewish settlements. The aggressor continues to build an apartheid wall. And the aggressor continuously subject the Palestinians to slaves in their own country. And that is not giving a sign of hope on our side. Hence, these marches and the solidarity.
In response to the growing awareness about Israel's crimes, the Zionist regime has sent delegations to reshape public thinking. In particular, they have targeted universities, but students remain clear about their stance.
No justice, no peace! As South Africans, we overcome apartheid, and what's happening in Israel is apartheid. And we don't want to speak to apartheid. How do you dialogue with people who are oppressing other people? You don't. You fight for justice, you fight for peace. And you don't sweet talk oppression. They have an occupation in Palestine, and they want to come here and kind of say, well, look, let's engage, let's make Israel such a democracy, and yet it's not a democracy.
An interesting project that has been launched here in South Africa is the pending opening of the Palestine Museum. It has been described as the first of its kind in the world. And we are now headed to Mr. Anis Daragma, who is overseeing this project.
First of all, it will balance the presence of the Israeli colonial systems, such as the Holocaust Museum, and using it as an instrument to justify the presence of the Israelis in my country, in Palestine. And so it will be like a counteract to have the Palestinian Museum or Palestine Museum to educate public about the Palestine political discourse. And from that, we will target all the schools and the South African curriculum in a systematic way to insert the Palestine political discourse in the curriculum.
The Palestine Museum believes it will become a hub for activism and that consciousness about Palestine should not be limited to a single week.
I think it's the time to make it very clear. Are they with colonialism or not? Is the solidarity here? Is it about humanitarian aid and emptying your emotion, or is it about systematic support? But our aim is to make the solidarity as clear as possible. Either you are supporting colonial system or not.
The growth in awareness about Palestine is undoubtable. During Israel's assault on Gaza last August, over 200,000 people flooded the streets of Cape Town in what was described as one of the biggest demonstrations ever recorded here. Activists are ever mindful that change takes time, but they say it was the role of international activism that helped crush apartheid here, and believe the same is needed for Palestine. In Cape Town, this is Hassan Syria for Reporters File.